Welcome to Becoming Full of Yourself, the show where fulfillment is not a finish line, it's a way of being. I'm Ebonie Allard, master coach, energy specialist, soul contract guide, here to help you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. In each episode, we explore what it means to lead from the inside out, embody your truth, and become so full of yourself that you overflow. Let's get into it. Hey, love. So this week, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm in the process of packing up my life and moving into a friend's house for a little while, and then who knows? It's a whole new adventure. And when I was planning out this episode, I noticed that the sun moved into gate 60 today. And next week, on January the 21st, the sun moves into gate 41, which is Human Design New Year. And next week, I've got a great guest for you, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. This week, we're in gate 60, and gate 60 is the last gate of the year before we move into gate 41. And gate 60 is my conscious earth. In the activation sequence, your conscious earth is your challenge, your evolution, and it's your evolution, and the path between your conscious sun and your conscious earth is the challenge line. And when we meet that challenge, we evolve. And I have been meeting the challenge of gate 60 for most of my life. Now, for those of you who have got my deck of cards or who study the gene keys, you may know that gate 60 is, in human design, it's acceptance and limitation. In the gene keys, it is this code of mutation through limitation and acceptance. I call it the magical mutation master. It's a really magical gate. Now, obviously, I didn't pull the card out before I start recording, so this is a bit silly, but if I find it, I will add it in, and I'll make sure that it is in the show notes so that you can see it rather than me fidgeting. And one of my gifts, actually, is making magic out of nothing. It's something I've always been really good at. You know those cooking shows where they're like, make something out of these random items in a box? That's my favorite part. Like the bit where you get to choose and you get to make anything out of anything. I've always really struggled with that. For me, my creativity has always come from limitation. Like one of my best ways of being able to create is if you bring me a major problem or you bring me all your limitations, I can create something awesome out of it. So when I discovered human design and the gene keys, and when I discovered that this is, in fact, the way that I evolve and one of my gifts, I was like, yeah, I know this. I am magic within limitation. And it is one of the reasons why I also really advocate for structure for creatives, because in that structure, in that limitation, that's where creativity really thrives. When I was at university and I was studying scenic art, people always said to me, well, why aren't you an artist? Why are you a scenic artist? And I would say, because I really struggled to come up with the brief. I really struggled to come up with an idea. But if you give me a brief, if you give me an idea, if you give me a challenge, I accept that challenge and I can create something really remarkable out of it. So I feel reasonably qualified to talk on gate 60. And then I have had one of the most challenging periods of my life since 2021, actually since March 2021, which was a year after I landed in Spain. And some of you know, and I don't really want to go into the whole story, but at that point I kind of lost my two of my oldest friends, three of my closest friends that I was in business with. I had made that decision. I am aware of the things that people say about that. And I have Neptune on my ascendant. So Well, I'm either gullible or, just really love to see the best in people, whichever way you like to look at it. And I work with astrology and I work with the transits, but I am not somebody who goes into the details of that because I don't like to future predict. I don't think it's helpful. For me, the movement of the planets is not about prediction and is much more about correspondence, as above, so below, right? And we can look at what is moving to understand what is moving in us and how we are evolving and what is changing. Why am I telling you this? Well, because in March 2021, Pluto, which is the planet of transformation and death and rebirth, moved into gate 60 and then remained in gate 60 pretty much until the 5th of December 2025. And during that time, it moved direct into Aquarius and then came back into Capricorn and then went forward again into Aquarius. And I just knew that I was having a Pluto opposition. I knew that Pluto was opposite my sun, but I didn't realize, I don't know why, but I didn't realize until the day that it fully moved into gate 41, which was the 5th of December 2025, where I was like, oh, Pluto's been on my Earth, on my evolution, on the specific gate of that for like 5 years, on and off, right? It's a 4-year transit, roughly. And that gave me a sense of relief. And it gave me a sense of relief because I could physically feel the difference once Pluto moved into gate 41. Like I could feel it in my body, the sense of pressure, the sense of challenge, of just everything being hard and taking so long moved. And that felt amazing for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, the sun is shining again. And in some ways, the universe then kind of started to spit me out from Spain properly in September 2025. And I can kind of see that it's took me to the land of the sun so that I would have the sun whilst my sun was not able to shine fully. It's fascinating, really, in many ways. So gate 60, which I call the magical mutation master, is really all about mutation through limitation. It is about pressure. It's about waiting. And through this pressure, through this waiting, past patterns tend to like come back, and in them we're able to access ancient wisdom and transmute it into something else. So that by the time we get to gate 41, we can jump timelines. Gate 41, I call the future fueler, and it is like repeating patterns. And are you going to repeat it again, or are you going to jump into a new timeline where something is different? My experience of gate 60, like really in this pressure, outer planet Pluto transit kind of a way of like, Pluto has been transforming me through pressure and waiting and patience for 5 years. That is really what I wanted to talk about in this episode, was like, what does acceptance and limitation, what does pressure, what does this time frame of mutating through limitation, mutating through acceptance, mutating through limitation mean for you personally? And so over the next 6 days, you may find that things are not moving. And when things are not moving, it's a great time to notice within yourself what happens. Do you get frustrated? Are you able to be patient? I also find it fascinating that most of my life, particularly as a 5-2 manifesting generator, I have been told that I'm impatient. I've always been like, you have no idea how patient I am. I am so patient. And there are various things in my life that I've shared more vulnerably and more openly with close friends over the last 5 years. And in the last week or so, I've had so many people say to me, I mean, you're just so patient. Like, I am going to wear that as a badge of honor because that means that I've met that challenge and I'm evolving. And I've got no idea what I'm evolving to or where I'm headed or what my life looks like next. And I'm so grateful for the work that I've done, for the value filter, for embody your design, for for the kismet codes, for everything, for my creativity, for the creativity that has come through patience and acceptance. I never thought I'd say that. And over the last 3 years, particularly, I have been like deeply embodying my design. But from a work perspective, I've been trying to simplify my life and make my offers make more sense and allow me to still really enjoy what I do without overfilling my plate. And overfilling my plate is something I've been doing since I was a kid, metaphorically and literally. And in recent years, and actually that journey really started 5 years ago, where I was like, I no longer want to overfill my plate. I no longer want to act as if I'm starving or take on too much or allow my eyes to be bigger than my stomach. And in some respects, I also mean like allow my eyes to be bigger than my sacral. And, there's often everything I want to do. I've got an undefined head, right? So I'm like, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Because I'm an emotional money gen. So I'm like, oh, and my sacral can get lit up by things. But if I'm not really paying attention to, is it for me and is it for me now? Which that emotional wave will give me clarity over time. And it's a subtle wave. So there really is an element of needing to be going slow enough to notice whether I'm enjoying it or whether I'm doing it because this is what I've always done or because I'm enjoying the progress or the momentum. So for you, if you have gate 60 in your chart, if it's one of the codes, if you have it defined, then you get to look at how you are mutating right now, how you are maturing right now, what is shifting and changing in you. And if you look at which planet gate 60 is in, then you get to look at, well, what is that planet about? What is that planet a player of, right? Like, what is it playing out in my world? And how is that mutating or shifting for me now? And if you don't have it defined, what is happening is the sun is moving through gate 60. So the sun is about shining a light on, bringing light to, and nourishing and enriching us in that particular area. And so you get to experience what it feels like to have gate 60 lit up in you over this period. And you also get a chance to drop into, well, what is maturing in me? What is mutating within me? Where has limitation created creativity? And where has pressure created a diamond? So this is gate 60, the card for gate 60. And you can see it's got a rabbit in a hat with a clock, a watch, a top hat. And affirmation on it says, some rules are made to be broken. Some rules are best accepted. Wisdom is found in surrender. And this is such a huge part of who I am. I laugh because I look at it now, I'm just like, yes. And, there are some rules and roles that are, some rules are meant to be broken. I've said most of my life, the rules that are here to keep us safe, I will always adhere to. The rules that are here to keep some people in power, I'm not available for. I will rebel against or push back against or put pressure on. And that's part of gate 60. And so look at the rules in your life that you've created to potentially keep you safe or that are now maybe just routine and habit. And are they still working for you? Are there some things, some habits or some rules that get to shift and change? Surrender is such an important topic for this time of year because things are always shifting and changing. We're sowing seeds, and those little seeds are going to catch and become shoots and push through the earth. And the earth is cold and hard on this side of the planet. And the surrender is like letting that shoot either make it or not. And often we don't get to choose which little shoots or seeds or shadows within us, or little sparks of ideas or potential actually are going to be the ones that grow. And this balance between free will and fate, or free will and destiny, is really about you slowing down enough and being mindful enough to make choices that serve you. And part of that surrender is not resignation, but allowing for magic. And that is what happens with a magical mutation master. So I'm going to read you what I wrote in the book for Gate 60, and know that you can get these cards from me, from my shop. And if you are in the UK, it's very, very easy. If you're outside the UK, just message me and I can send you a special link to get them sent to you. Hopefully we'll sort out international shipping soon. But for now, just message me and we can sort that out for you. And, not to forget that these come from the gene keys, or they come from the hexagram and the I Ching. And these are my interpretation. And Richard Rudd's are his interpretation. And there are many people who have done theirs. And you get to, and mine is ever evolving. And sometimes I read back and think, oh, I'd like to do that slightly differently. And other times I'm like, no, it's perfect for kind of where I was and where I am. And everything continues to change. I have changing perspectives and ideas about Capricorn and Aquarius generally. So, Gate 60, the Magical Mutation Master, this is from my little book, is all about using creativity to overcome by accepting limitations and allowing itself to enjoy the firm pressure of constraint. It's able to evolve, mutate, and transcend. Code 60 is a catalyst for transformation, thriving by accepting that being human is limiting. And yet, there is always a way over, around, or through. Code 60 knows that alchemy happens by surrendering to the laws of nature and being imaginative with boundaries, systems, and structures to create magic. And this is how I've lived my life. It's how I've managed to live in 2 countries for the last 6 years. It's how I create everything in my life. And also that piece about firm pressure, like it's great. I really love feeling swaddled by life. And sometimes we have to create our own rules or our own systems that allow us to do that. If we are in business and we work all the time, that is not going to create magic. Often it's people with the least time who are, really focused in on only working an hour a day or only working 2 days a week, that actually get that real magical mutation and shift into things growing and transforming. And they can pull rabbits out of hats. The card and the drawing, there's also this nod to the pocket watch, which is the Alice in Wonderland rabbit and the white rabbit. And, that whole sometimes you just follow and accept that you don't know where you're going. And that is limiting. It can feel scary. And there's a level of courage that's required when moving with Gate 60. In the astrology, it's Capricorn and Aquarius. In human design, it's acceptance and transcendence. And the gene key is the shadow is limitation. The gift is realism. And the siddhi, the highest expression, is justice. And I love this because there's a level where I'm talking about magic and realism at the same time. And that can be quite difficult for people to get their heads around. I think magic is the most logical thing of all. That's my perspective as someone with the earth in, who grounds into gate 60 for nourishment. In action, it is all about using creativity to overcome obstacles. And its core theme is pressure to transcend limitation. And at this time of year, we move through all of the, or not all of, but quite a lot of the root gates, which are all pressure felt, right? We experience the sense of pressure. And then we had gate 61 beforehand, and that was up in the head. And then we drop down again. And so there's like this movement between the root and the pressure, and then this other pressure center in the head. And like, what's happening? We're experiencing a lot of pressure so that we can have that breakout when we get to gate 41. And gate 61 is the female stop codon, or the feminine stop codon. And then gate 41 is the masculine stop codon. And gate 60 is in between them, transforming everything. So this is a really magical time for you to tune into your value filter, to drop into what are you using as your coordinates for your own inner masculine and your own inner feminine this year. And if you don't yet have your value filter, I highly encourage you to go and get it. It's the signature tool that I created in 2014, still going strong. 12 years in, I still use it every day. It has morphed and mutated and is like such a gate 60 tool. It's phenomenal. And yeah, there's a payment plan. I still add things to it. I did a workshop last week that the replay is in there. And it is this like compass, this wayfinder, this magic kind of rabbit in a hat between gate 61 and 41, which I had no idea about when I first created it. And I love that about this work and these codes and contemplating them and embodying them. The internal motivation and the thing that gate 60 is doing for us is I hold within me the power of change. And so you hold within you the power of change. And at this time, it's a really good time to really drop into, what am I changing? What is it that is mutating within me? And can I surrender to that rather than trying to control it? At the light end, it's magic. It's embodied. It transcends limitation. It trusts. It innovates. It's a magical manifester because it's accepting, it's resourceful, it's patient, it's tenacious, and it's inventive. At the shadow end, it's limited by the human plane. It can get very melancholy, can become a victim of structures or laws or rules or boundaries and natural limits. It acts out when boundaries aren't clear. I'm not saying anything. It stays in its comfort zone instead of using its creativity to overcome challenges. I have found that when I am in my comfort zone, the universe finds a way to push me out of it so that I find a way to overcome the challenges that are presented to me. However, the next words written here are depressed and apathetic. And I have definitely been in that shadow before I then was able to alchemize it and move into like, okay, I'm ready for this adventure. And it says, gets pressured into doing things. I absolutely do. And resists change. I absolutely can. But the thing is, once we shift that shadow and allow the shadow to be the seed, and don't push the shadow away, but be with it, be with the potential of that seed, allow yourself to feel all the feelings of it, and then surrender and accept the limitation, accept your own limitation. This is part of my journey of like, oh, and maybe I'm going to have to ask for help, right? Or accept help, acceptance. Oh, then something shifts. So to raise the frequency, it's about discovering the containers or the rules or the limits that your creativity and magic thrive inside of. And for me, with this move of countries, I was actually given more time. It was like, okay, you need to leave, but you can stay until March. And for me, it was like, that is going to be living in limbo for too long. Actually, I need to create containment around this and just do it. And so what is it that you need to create containment around so that you can just do it, or so that you can accept it and move on? And this is about creating boundaries or endings or conclusions or closure that work for you. And you may never get that from somebody else. Can you do it for yourself? The programming partner is gate 56. And so if you're feeling limited, look for a different perspective. It's one of the reasons why I am so good at being able to find another perspective, because I can make a story out of anything at gate 56, right? And I have all the experience of living all these different countries and places and communities and families and perspectives that I have collected over the years. And makes a channel power is gate 3 or code 3, which is the logical child. And together they make the channel of mutation. And the logical child, code 3, is about thriving in chaos, because you come at chaos with eyes of awe. And so this is a time really to look at the magic that can be created through containment and acceptance. It is in the root center, which we said, it's heading up to the sacral. So it's looking to spark something, right? There'll be the right time to spark and move and change and mutate. And it's in the colon. And so it's like, okay, what are you holding on to that it's time to let go of? The affirmations are: limitation seeds creativity, and I work with nature and natural law instead of against it. So I hope this has been interesting and helpful. If you want to know anything else about your particular gates and codes, your golden pathway, your attributes, you want to affirm your true nature, embody your design, become full of yourself because you are a fantastic and incredible miracle of a human being, then that is what I love to do with people. And there are so many different ways that you can do that. I've got the True Self Trifecta, and those are my 3 signature offers. So we've got the Value Filter, Kismet Flicks, and Embody Your Design. And this year, my focus is really fleshing out Kismet Flicks with all of my teachings of all of this stuff. What is in there is the last 12 years worth of programs that I've created, all in there. There's over £8,000 worth of trainings and courses in there that you can have for 1,111 or like 95 a month for a year. And then there are also my reading reports. Now, to have a one-to-one reading with me is £444, and that's about 75 minutes. And it is incredible and worth every single penny if you have got a grounding in your astrology or your human design or your gene keys. Like if you've got some awareness of your chart, spending an hour with me will change your life. A girly hour. If you're not there yet, I have created the free fundamentals reports that are like the fundamentals of your human design, the fundamentals of your astrology, the fundamentals of your frequency or gene keys. And they are free for you. And then the next level, which is magic, which is the attributes, are only £44. And the £44 for the human design one will change your life. The £44 for the frequency one, the gene keys one, that goes into your activation sequence. This will shift the energy in your body and create a level of embodiment that is so powerful. And this coming year, 2026, I will finish the astrology one and start to work on the next level in the frequency report. The next level goes into the Venus sequence. In the human design report, the next level goes into deconditioning and things to look out for, like where conditioning happens and what that looks like in your profile, in your type, in your centers. And yeah, we'll see how far I get with those this year, but I'm really, really excited for you to have access to them. And if you are a coach or a mentor or an embodiment practitioner or somebody who would like to give these reading reports to your clients, then I do special offers for you so that you can either buy them in bulk or have them unlimited on a monthly retainer. So please do get in touch if that's interesting. I'll make sure that the links are somewhere near this episode. And that is all from me today. I would love to hear in the comments about your experience of Gate 60. How do you relate to this? Do you have it? Does anybody else in your world have it? How has this helped you see it differently? How did you experience Pluto being in Gate 60? And did you notice the shift as it moved into Gate 41? And I will be back next week with a beautiful guest, and we will be talking about Gate 41 and moving into the new year and jumping tie lines. So please subscribe, rate and review, share this with your friends so that more people can find this work. Thank you for tuning in to Becoming Full of Yourself. If you found a resonance here, subscribe, share it with someone who's ready to reclaim their fullness, and leave a review to help others find this work. For more resources, rituals, real talk on living a fully fulfilled life, head to eboniello.com. Until next time, be bold, be brave, be full of yourself.